bellow on the bellow on the bellow.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go. Hey.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of the Real Shop Talk, and we have everybody here, plus more family. Tonight's ladies' night, so we are going to get the opinions of these lovely ladies on stage. We are missing one, I believe, but the show must go on. She may be having technical difficulties, so when she comes up, I'm gonna bring her up. So, without further ado, I do want to do some housekeeping things. First and foremost, make sure that you like, share with everybody you know. This is going to be an amazing show. Hit that YouTube link, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure that you get notifications for all the ones in the future, and share the information. Let me put the website up here real quick. Realshoptalk.net. Make sure you go there. You can get all of our profiles. You'll also get the actual YouTube link, Instagram, Facebook. So you guys have been doing a great job, especially on Facebook. I think we have like over 1,200. So like, you know how you have people who follow and people who like, they run it neck and neck. So we definitely appreciate that. We're trying to get the YouTube numbers up, the YouTube likes up. So tonight, if you enjoy the content, make sure you also hit the like button, even if you're a subscriber, so that we can get those numbers up. So what I'm gonna do first and foremost is I'm going to just kind of go round robin. We're not gonna take too long.
Talk about Tony Massey.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. We are also missing Mr. Tony Massey. He had some things to attend to, but he is definitely always here with us. And he should be. Hopefully, he'll be back with us next week, and we can rock it out like we normally do. We miss you, brother. I know he's gonna. If he's not going to listen tonight, he's gonna listen on the replay. So we definitely miss your presence, and we're gonna keep it moving. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to just say hi and tell us if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself. Cool. So we just gonna go around the room. First and foremost, my name is Derek Jones, and I'm a certified life and relationship coach. Also hosted a Relationship Gumbo podcast. And I'm gonna leave it there for now. We can do the rest of the stuff at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic over to Gunter Man.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? I'm Gunter Man from the Gunter Man Show on Instagram Live every Thursday night at 7:30. I'm a relationship life coach and also an MC hype man throughout the party time week. Take care, guys. John, it's you.
All right, I'm John Singletary, Help Myself podcast host. I am the quiet one on the block, so I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna let the ladies and I'm gonna pass it on to Tony A. Watts.
Hey people, how we doing? Glad you could join us. We deeply appreciate you. I'm Tony A. Watts, host of Triumphant TV. We're gonna park it there and we're gonna slide it over to California.
Hi. I'm sorry, you guys. I am on Monday mommy duty, so I'm multitasking right now. But thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I'm from California. I'm a national realtor. a founder of a nonprofit dedicated to young Black men, and also have a little podcast, which some of you guys really support, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, I guess I'm last.
Yep, you're next, love.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, passing it on. Just got quiet.
You're on. Hello, I am Love Tucker. You may know me from comments on people's shows, and I am the author of the fictional novel 2024, and the mom of a high school senior who had his first last day today. So I'm feeling away today, but it's good. It's good.
Cool. So we're going to get right into it, everybody. So tonight we're talking about, well, the title on the flyer is, are you a traditional woman or a modern woman in your relationship? So I want to give a little bit of context. There's probably about 2,000 definitions, but I'm going to just lightly, I'm going to read this thing that I found online that gives you a little bit of context of what we're talking about. In this definition, it says traditional women strive to have that nuclear family, a husband, children, uphold the values that some people would see as old-fashioned today. Traditional women also generally tend to come from religious backgrounds. I'm gonna say that lightly because that's where I think for like our parents' generations and before, it was very highly religious. But I do believe, this is my opinion, that there are a lot of traditional women that may not be highly religious. And then I'm gonna just skip down to the modern women. This is just real light. I didn't want it. It was like this long. It was like these long soliloquies or whatever. So I just kind of took out this stuff. So the modern women, at least the way of a modern woman today is that you would often be the opposite of that. She may tend to idealize equality in relationships, and a modern woman might prefer to lead in the relationship and may rather focus on career and education first before marriage and children. For some modern women, having a family and children is an option that they can leave or take and still be happy. They also tend to be a lot more liberal in their views. Modern women can still be religious or spiritual to an extent, but their view on marriage, relationships, in the world aren't dictated by those more conservative ideals. So, with that being said, right, and we're gonna go around a whole bunch of mulberry bushes and robin's barns today, but we're gonna start with those very kind of those definitions, but kind of I want to start with the ladies. First and foremost, just real quick, do you identify with being more of a modern or a traditional woman when you show up in a relationship, or a hybrid, or how do you kind of look at things? And we'll start with Samika. I think if I mispronounce your name, please tell me, because I know I butchered it.
We already starting to start some mess. You trying to start?
My mouth is reckless now. I'm sorry.
No, it's Samika.
Samika. Okay,
so
sorry.
I'm probably like a traddy mod, I guess. I'm very old school when it comes to allowing my husband or the man of my life lead the relationship and things like that. But I'm also very independent. So I find myself in a balance, allowing my man to lead and falling into those old school traditions. But at the same time, I'm educated. I'm an entrepreneur, and I work and do those things too, while still meeting my obligations in my home.
Cool.
So I would say I'm like the best of both worlds.
Okay. Love?
I agree. I think a lot of women are in that category. I kind of think of it as like modern in the front, traditional in the back, in a way, where we are in this society almost kind of forced to be modern, right? We have to do all of these things in these ways right now, especially if you're a single parent or you're co-parenting. In a lot of ways, you have to be modern, but that is a different focus, right? Or it just kind of marries a little bit differently, no pun intended, to traditional when it comes to your relationship, because you may not have a relationship with the father of the child.
Right. So
and to ask
first
about too. Oh, I'm sorry. To add to that too, I want to be clear in stating that by me working and having a career, I don't think that that puts me in the category as modern because old traditional ways, it was very common for our Black men to be put in situations where they had to be put out of work, weren't given jobs, were kind of blackballed and things like that. So the old school traditional woman also did work, did go in a job as cook and housekeeping and things like that, to still support her man in a traditional way. So when I say modern, it's not necessarily because I am working and things like that. It's just because of just a lot of different reasons, not just the work, but just because of how the times have changed and things like that. So I think when it comes to a modern woman, it's more than just a woman working and a man working, or having like a uh, two, two parent or two adult working household.
Right. I think, and the reason why we wanted to bring this topic is because we're starting to see it. I believe there's a shift, right? And I always tell people how often I'm in these different like clubhouse and looking at these conversations. Sometimes they tend to be a little ratchety, but the meat behind it is that there's rooms that will be on for hours debating what type of woman you should be for a certain type of man, and the traditional woman. There's men out here that, and we had this show about alpha and beta male, right? So these alpha males are saying you need to be traditional. Anything else, we're not having that. I'm running things, blah 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 blah. And I see this stuff going back and forth. And I think if I really stood back and took like a scan of even like the demographics, it's like the Gen Xers kind of lean more traditional, a little modern. Then the millennials are kind of somewhere in the middle, and then the 20 somethings, they like forget about it. We gonna just we doing us. We ain't worried about none of that stuff. So it's a weird conversation to have because the gentlemen on stage and probably the ladies on stage, we came up in a different kind of time, and people was really looking to be in relationships, and now it's just like whatever. So so the question that I have, and I also have a little video that I want to put up too, but the first question that I have, give me 1 second here. And we're going to put a little spin on it too, because there are also traditional men and modern men too. And so it's the dichotomy of how do you fit the two together in a relationship. So for the women, and then I'm gonna get to some of the gentlemen's comment in the middle, but I want the gentlemen to comment on the actual video. And I'm a real quick comment. Tashura says only single people are debating this. She's absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
She's absolutely right.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And LaShawn says it needs to be a partnership where I'm weak, then you should be strong, and vice versa. One would think this, right? But this is not, they go at it daily. So the question I want to ask to the ladies, then I'm gonna play a video, and then I'm gonna get everybody's opinion on the video. Would you want to have a traditional type of man where he's the breadwinner and all of these kind of traditional things, or would you want a modern man, or to the point of what y'all said, or somewhat of a hybrid?
All right, all right. I thought about this. I came to this conclusion in therapy one day that when it comes to the male, I tend towards a more traditional male. And so it'd be like 80% traditional and 20% modern. Like, don't beat me over the head and try to tell me what to do. I'll do it. But I still want you to kind of take care of most things so I don't necessarily have to, if that makes sense.
You're next up.
Okay. I am tired. I'm a little drained. I would prefer a traditional type of situation where the things that I do and entertain are optional, if that makes sense. So a lot of the things that I'm doing, a lot of the different grinding and hustling and different streams of income and things like that are because I'm currently a part of a single income household. I am single. I'm a widow. So I was married, but I am single now. And so with that being said, I'm excited to, be married and be in that traditional household to where the man is the breadwinner. The man, whether he's the breadwinner or not, is going to be the head of my household, because that's just, how I work. That's what works for me, you know. But I would be lying to say that I am not a little tired, and I would love to have it be more of an option instead of an obligation. I'll always do real estate. I love my nonprofit. I have other things that I do that I will always do. However, I would love to enjoy them rather than be obligated, and it'd be more like a job and something that I have to do.
Somebody new just popped up on the stage.
Jay
Welcome,
Jay.
Gigi.
Hello.
Jay.
Sorry, guys. I was having some complications getting online. Sometimes the power does some things out here in Africa. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Just tell everybody like a little brief snippet about your, like who you are and like what you do real quick, and then we're gonna get right back into it.
All right. Well, sorry to interrupt the conversation. It sounds like it was really interesting. So I'm definitely, excited to get involved. My name is Gigi. I currently live in Dakar, Senegal. I am a producer. I am also an actress. I work with different community organizations out here, and I am working on being a Black woman in import-export outside of America. That's what I'm moving towards. I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation this evening. Thank you for having me.
Cool. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play this little video clip, and then I'm gonna start with the gentleman, and then the ladies can make their comments afterwards. So stand by. Hold on.
We choose violence.
Say it again.
Nothing.
Oh, I heard what you said. So
I definitely
the
heard
video is
that.
a little over 2 minutes, so just be patient.
What's up, everybody? The other day I saw a post on Instagram. It was a man. He was talking about what he wants in a woman. He said he wants to get married, he wants to have children, and he was tired of meeting women that didn't have traditional values, meaning that he wanted women that cooked. He spoke of women not cooking anymore. He spoke of women who are mothers not being as nurturing anymore. He just spoke of women, not uplifting, her king and things like that. But he also wants his wife to pay half of the household bills. Here's where I have a problem. How can you want a traditional household? How can you want your wife to cook and clean and have children for you and uplift you while making half the money? This is what I want to talk about. Now, this isn't the first time that I have seen on Instagram or heard men talking about, they want their wife to pay half the bills. Everything is 50-50. She's got to have her own bag. Fine. A lot of women have our own money out here, okay? However, you want children, which involves a woman changing emotionally, physically. You want to have children. You want a wife to cook for you. You said you don't want microwave shit. You want good home cooked meals. You want your wife to keep a nice house. You want her to nurture your children. And you also want her to motivate and uplift you. But she's going to work 40 to 50 hours like you are. So the question that I have for men is, why should your woman work harder than you? Because if she's making half the money and cooking and cleaning and having babies, she's working harder than you. Not cool. I'm not speaking for all men, so please don't attack me. But there are a lot of men out there that are saying, I want my woman to pay half the bills and everything is 50-50, but they also want a traditional wife. How can you want a traditional wife when she's working just like you are? How can you expect this person to cook and clean and raise babies and make pies and shit and uplift you? And she's working just as hard as you are during the day and coming home and doing double duty. Why would a woman want that? If there's a single woman out here who is making good money, who is doing her thing, what on earth is her motivation for marrying you, having kids with you, when it's going to be more work for her? What is the motivation?
So it's funny, y'all, in the audience. That let me do the couple of comments, and then we're gonna go around, starting with Gunter Man. But hold on one second. So Tashira said, so he wants a roommate. Everybody was saying breathe, ma'am, because she was very passionate about what she was saying. And then Ashley Jackson says he wants a traditional wife, but don't want to be the traditional man. So here's the context. In Erica says if we ain't uplifting each other, I don't want it. So here's the thing. This is the argument. These are the things that happen in these internet streets all the time. So Gunter Man, I want your first reaction from hearing that.
She's so on point on so many matters, because I guess growing up wanting, being of the age where you grow up wanting a traditional woman, where you grow up thinking, okay, I have to be the breadwinner, then I have to be the one kind of leading, being the peacekeeper in the family, that I spot situations going on in the household and make sure that I start working with the family to improve situations. My mindset was to make the money. My mindset was also to let whoever I'm with make the money also, but I grew up more traditional. So I wasn't really, when I was married, I don't think I was really leaning on my ex-wife to bring in the money. Her money definitely was extra money, but I pretty much took care of the stuff that was around the house. That was my job. So when I think about traditional, it's hard for me to kind of really make sense of it, because one, being single for so long, that you kind of like, well, I remember when you were growing up, you thought about and you heard about these things and you start to believe it as true. But being back out here single, this is a completely different time. These are different mindsets, different habits. People tend to forget, like especially those alpha men speeches that they talk about, I want my woman to be, women were treated like property. Think about that. They would, until what was it, until what, 1964? Where that act went into place, where that equal, you gotta think about it. Women couldn't even own credit cards till like 1974. I mean, how? Let's just be real about it. Women didn't have the right to vote to what, 1920? Let's come on. So what is traditional? Think about even like the father paying for the bride, paying for the wedding, because women at the time were burdens to a family because they weren't able to go out into the workforce. Wasn't able to go out into the workforce and earn a living. So these traditions, these American traditions, saw women as property. So how do you develop all these wants and likes and preferences based off of things that are not in existence anymore? When you look at like owners of homes nowadays, you have probably in second place, I think the number one owner of homes is married couples. The second in line is single women. Single women. Who's making the money? And you heard me drop the demographics before. Out of Black and Latino women are the fastest growing owners of businesses in America. So when they look to a man and say, what do you bring to the table? Because I'm already making money. What do men have to fall back on? Begging for old things? Begging for old ways? And then now they say, I want you to pay half of the bills? Like, who hurt you? Who hurt you? Because a lot of times those mindsets are based off of, because I really never went chasing after my dreams, because I never became successful in the things that I'm endeavoring to do. So I'm looking for someone to help cover But if we're leveling up together and we're building dreams surpassing that what we could imagine, then of course, build and grow and see new things. But before getting married, you better be able to hold your own. Hold your own. Need you be a woman or a man, hold your own. So when you move into a situation, you're moving into it with heartfelt decisions. Heartfelt, meaning that I like this thing about him. I like the person that I become around him. Not that you're looking for him to be loved. Not that you're looking to him to be your joy. Not that you're looking to him for him to be your peace. No, you already have that. You already come with that. So now you're looking for a connection. You're looking for a connection, something that's real, something that allows you to level up, feel even more greater than you already do. So when I look and I listen to tapes like this, it's hard for me not to agree with her on certain things. But I also know that it's hard for men to kick that habit and that mindset of, I want a traditional woman. Just thoughts.
Singletary, you're up.
What he said. What he said. Nah, man, like seriously, she up there talking. I was in the room when my son was born, man, and that's a transformational experience, man. And I remember, LJ's mom was beautiful all the way up through her pregnancy. She glowed, but then watching her bring a child into this world, she did that, man. So I'm like, these cats talking about 50-50. I don't even want my wife to know we got bills. Like, so everything he said. I ain't even with all of that stuff. I ain't with it.
That's a beautiful perspective.
T. Watts.
Well, I think what we're living in a society of non-lived experiences. We are assuming we know what happened when we were not there. We are listening to the Pied Piper tell you that you have to make six figures and you have to be this, that, and the other to be high value. And all of these other people who are not on that level have picked up a baton that has nothing to do with them. Now they're screaming, this is what the woman has to bring to the table. I've said it 1,000 times. When you get together, you build the table together, however that looks like. I could be the billionaire winner. Yay. She could be the billionaire winner. Yay. But her life does not have to be, when she comes home, all of the stuff that young lady was talking about is being done. I can understand her being triggered because that is crazy. Like, you work 14 hours a day and you come home and dude is playing PlayStation. There's clothes, socks everywhere. You know what I mean? And he's talking about why is my dinner late? Like, that's a problem. That is a problem. We live in a society now, like Rick said, Black women are the number one entrepreneurs. They're also the number one consumers of degrees. So how do you put someone back in the 60s and early 70s that could not buy property, that could not own things? How do you put them in a box to tell them they have to be this? That's insanity to me. That's absolute insanity. So if you come together, like if you're young, right, and this is really for the young people. If you're young and you find somebody that's great, has great values, is looking to build something wonderful for future, get with that person. You guys will build something together. You guys will make the rules of the home. Okay, honey, I want you to take out the garbage. All right, great, honey, I'll take out the garbage. We're going to alternate on washing the dishes. Or if you're responsible, when you see dishes in the sink, wash them, take care of them. Like this idea of being so burdened with all of these little responsibility things is just, it's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to expect another human being that's working as hard as you to do all this stuff just because you're paying the bills. No, you can't do that. And another, I think another reason why some women go through such hard childbirth and afterwards go into such I forgot, forgive me for not knowing the word right now, when they go through that emotional detachment from the child, That's also because they're not getting emotional attachment from their mate. Like that is a time when you have to reassure her as she's taking care of the child. You got to give her a break, and you got to take care of the child with her, so she doesn't have to go through those things. This is a joint team effort. It is a joint team effort. However you want to run your household, you do that. But it has to be a joint team effort. If everybody doesn't have a vision to get somewhere, you will get nowhere. And just to let you know, you will do something extremely damaging to the next generation. Trust me. I'm a line there.
Erica says postpartum depression. Is that
Right.
what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
postpartum depression. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're I always want to call you Mouth So Reckless. Like that's your
okay.
first name.
I've earned it. No, I'm just playing.
Yes,
I mean,
you
that's how I know her. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very. Yeah, I've definitely earned it. Non-popular opinion. Not all. Okay, so let me just put that disclaimer out there. I don't speak in the masses. I will say, even myself know women personally who have created this type of thinking, unfortunately. And it comes from not even back in the 60s and 70s. It comes from really the new millennial, the new modern woman who believes that she doesn't need a man, believes that she can do everything by herself, believes that she can take care of herself and things like that. So in the video, it did break up a little bit. So I apologize in advance if I am misspeaking. However, in the video, she was very passionate. I would like to know at what point in the conversation with the men that she's referring to did this happen? Because you have a lot of times where the relationship did not start like this. But after a man comes home so many times and is getting attacked, getting harassed, he's never good enough. He's like getting hit on the outside world with all these things. Then he comes home and has to deal with that same type of negative energy that the world is throwing at him. He gets to a breaking point. Nothing I ever do is good enough. We got a car, but it's not the best car. We got a house, but it's not the best house. The bills are paid, but you don't have the extra channels that you want or the extra luxuries that you want. And so after being attacked, a lot of men, they're being emasculated. They're being torn down to where they're like, okay, well, let's be roommates then. You pay the bills. You help me with this. Let's start splitting this up and let's see how you like it. So I'm not saying it's right at all. I definitely don't agree with it. I don't believe in the perception of a roommate or splitting the bills by any means. However, some women have to take responsibility for creating it. And if a man has been through that, then he needs to heal from that before going into another relationship, expecting that same type of energy and expecting that quote unquote roommate situation. But again, us as women, some of us have to take responsibility through bringing our hurt, pain, and trauma into relationships where we're always making it seem like what the man is doing and taking care of the household is not good enough. So I think that has to be explored as well, depending on, like I said, where in that conversation or where in the relationship the lady who was in the video was when that happened, because it sounded like they were deep in. She was pretty upset. So I don't know at what point that was in, but that's where I'm at with it.
Well, as you saw, I was clapping.
Real quick. When the video was playing, I could see everybody's reactions, and Love Tucker was going was all over the place. So anyway, go ahead.
I totally agree with her. And I know we were talking about triggers yesterday or the day before, triggering things on Dope Discussion podcast, and I was like, oh, the trigger word. I was triggered a little bit because I remember in my, I'll say first marriage, because hopefully I'll get married again, right? So the first one, when we first got together and until right just about the time that my son was born, I always made more money than he did. And it was never a question of, oh, well, who's going to take care of this and who's going to take care of that? I was already taking care of whatever it was, and it wasn't a power trip. But then when it was time for the traditional roles, and I forgot who asked the question about, oh, like, do we believe in traditional roles? he certainly believed in traditional roles. So he was almost like relieved that, oh, you're going to stay home with the baby for a bit, because my son was born with a heart condition. And it was, I stay home, which of course I would do, or get a full-time nurse. That doesn't make sense. So we're going to be traditional, right? I'm going to be home. But then you have a problem with, oh, I'm taking care of everything now. And it's like, dude, I'm taking care of the baby. Like, I'm literally feeding the baby. The baby needs all this medication. All of a sudden, it seems like the reality of the pressure of being the breadwinner, of being the person to take care of all of that, fell on him. And perhaps that's a little bit to go in with the point that sometimes men go, oh, wait, I didn't know it was this hard. I didn't know it was this difficult. Let me bow out a little bit. And I'm going to put this bravado on that, oh, you're so modern. We're going to do this together. You're going to pitch in X, Y, and Z, and almost throw a tantrum because I also want you to do the traditional stuff also. So I was a little triggered, and that's what came to mind for me. But I would love to hear what Gigi has to say about it.
Absolutely. Gigi, you're up.
Well, it's a little unfortunate. Whenever you guys showed the video, there was an error on my side, so it didn't show the video. But
Did you hear it?
But she could still answer the question. What is about preferring the modern or the traditional?
So it's interesting in my life, like I feel like, being born in the 70s, we kind of like have a good scope of what traditional was and what modern is. Like even like simple influences from like modern women. As I thought about this question, I was like, I'm a little bit of both. And I don't know, I kind of prefer like a traditional man because I grew up around men who were quite different from like I don't know, I don't want to be offensive when I say this, but men were different. Like my father, like my stepdad, like how they were, like, like always out at the car and like, just really good, a mechanic, really taking on his roles. Like, I don't know, like it's kind of interesting how men have changed so much that I kind of yearn for a traditional type of man. That just has a passion about taking care of his family and being that influence. But at the same time, in this world that we live in now, I am a little bit more flexible with the roles. I mean, I don't mind. I love making money with my man. I love, sharing business. I'm really, that's typically I really associate or connect with men when it comes to business. And so I really enjoy that. And I don't necessarily want him to be the breadwinner. I like to make money too. So I don't know. It's interesting.
So go ahead, Tony Watch, you muted.
I'm sorry, Gigi. What time is it there?
It's like about 12:30, I think.
Well, we appreciate you being up all late at night, hanging out with us. We appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
being here.
So I'm gonna go through a couple of comments and then we're gonna bring it back to the next question.
But hold, Derek, what about your thoughts, bro?
Man, oh yeah, I forgot me.
That part.
So the stuff that she was talking about makes perfect sense. However, I think there are a lot of men who it's almost like they're in the environment where the woman is working, but it's like it doesn't register that she's working just like you. And so when you come home, your expectation is that she's going to now turn into traditional woman while you go do whatever, chill, sit on the couch, whatever. And you don't really look at that she's worked the same 40 hours that you work. It's almost like a mental block, because it's like, yes, the times have advanced, but I remember my mama cooking in the kitchen, and that's what I want my woman to do. And I want her to do all of this and take care of the kids and do. And so when you come with that mentality, the fact that she's working doesn't even register for a lot of dudes. They're like, wait, when you gonna get that dinner ready? And she looking at you like, you've been home for an hour before me. I just got off. Like, and it's like it takes a minute, because I will admit there was a small point in time where I didn't realize it until it was like, hold on, oh boy, what the heck? You just gonna sit there? And I was like, oh crap, damn. And that was like a wake up moment for me, because it's like when she came in, it was like, I'm tired, I'm beat down. What are you gonna do to assist me? And I was like, oh crap. She just, like, because of how we're conditioned, we not the 20 somethings, but those of us who come from a certain era, this is what we saw, to Rick's point. And we have to realize as men, and there's another the balance between this whole argument is, the man in the modern age still wants a traditional woman, even though we're not in that era anymore. But the flip side of the conversation, the things that I hear online, is the women are saying, I'm modern, I'm independent, I don't need you, but when I get together, I'm gonna need you to be traditional. Right. And I'm gonna need you to be the breadwinner and take care of stuff. And so they go, right. So they doing all of this instead of trying to figure out how to make it work. Everybody wants it their way, and nobody's getting together. It's
because everybody
crazy.
Wants to be the head of the household.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go through a couple of these comments, and then we're gonna
I think also too that, especially a single mom or a woman who's taking care of everything, having that independence, you don't want to relinquish that all the time, because once I was home, right, I remember one thing very distinctly real quick, that I was home and I realized, oh, this bill came in, let me pay it. And I realized, oh yeah, I have been at work for a minute. There's not enough in this account, right? In my account. So I'm feeling away because I'm calling him, hey, give me your card so I can, and it occurred to me, wait a minute, how come I don't have this information already? And two, he starts an argument with me because he doesn't want to give me the information. It became this whole power trip. So in that way, traditionally, women is kind of like, okay, now we have this power. I have this autonomy. I don't know if I want to relinquish that all the way to go, okay, yeah, I'm going to be traditional. In some ways, we go, yes, we want to be soft again. I think of it like that in my mind. Like, oh, yes, we want to be soft and we want to be relaxed. But do I want to ask you for your card every time I need to do something?
Yeah.
I got a question on my list that fits that perfectly. But we're gonna go to the comments real quick, and then we're gonna come back. And then when I ask this question, I'm gonna get Gigi to start off first. So Tashura said, ninjas don't be having a table or a house to shelter the table, talking about what you bring in a chair, sir, you can sit your arse down. Lalita says, because we are from a different mindset of our parents, we have to agree as a couple on what modern and traditional means for their relationship. So it's always a conversation that needs to be had, because it's hard to navigate this thing, trying to keep these hard lines. The world we live in now is not so black and white all the time. Tashura says, I had serious postpartum, but was back at work 2 weeks after having my daughter, and I had a whole husband. Yeah, y'all be getting it, man. Nobody's ever going to downplay what y'all got to go through, man. And I know it's a lot of us men that kind of take it for granted sometimes, man. But y'all are really like getting it. Let's see. I'm gonna just read two more. Dope Discussion says that independence becomes a security blanket. Absolutely. And then she also says, I don't want to ask, just hand me the damn card. So So Love's comment was a segue into a question that I already had up here, and this is also something that is a big contention point. Masculine energy and feminine energy. They go crazy over this thing. So I'm gonna phrase the question like this, and then I'm gonna get Gigi to give the first reaction or the first response. So what they say is modern women, because of their independence and being able to do their own thing and all of this, that to men, it comes off as masculine energy. I don't need you energy. Okay, I'm gonna change it on the fly real quick because I want it to make sense for everybody. These men are saying that they're not attracted to the masculine independent energy because they don't feel like they have a place. Is it difficult? This is more kind of sort of to what Love was talking about. If that is your role in life, and I don't necessarily want to necessarily call it masculine energy because that's their term, not mine. Is it difficult to turn it off once you get into a relationship? Because with a little bit more context, now we are seeing the rise of femininity coaches. Now we are seeing a lot of women saying, I don't even know how to go back to being that way because I've been doing it myself this so long. And when a man comes in and he wants me to be soft, now my femininity is conditional. He has to earn my femininity, which I think anyway, Gigi, I'm gonna let you get
I think that's a really interesting question. I was just recently reading something that was saying, like it was speaking to men, and it was saying, like, don't speak about Black women and their masculine energy that they exude, because basically it's been a form of protection that they've put up for themselves because they can't find a safe space with men to allow that guard to be let down, to be their natural feminine selves. I thought that was interesting. It made me think of, and maybe that is a little bit of the reason. Living here in West Africa, I do have to say, I do see a different type of energy on women, a very strong feminine energy on women that's quite different from my energy. And it made me have to, step back and learn another approach to things. I think that our culture, for whatever reasons, the things we've been through, the traumas we've been through, the way they've taken the man out of the family, the way we've had to step up for ourselves and just make things happen no matter what. Black women don't have another choice but to be strong. Like someone complimented me, like, "Oh, you're so strong." I don't want to always be strong. That's just what I have to do. And to be able to let that guard down and be softer and gentler, women would love to do that. Black women specifically, we would love that environment, that ability. And I think that we can. I think we can get back to it. I think there is healing in it. But, we have to kind of like work with each other, both sexes. Men have to allow us space to be that soft self and be able to trust it, that it's not going to be abused or misused.
Yeah, it's this thing, I'm gonna let Samika, did I mess it up?
You said it right.
Because I'm not, even though you are Mouth So Reckless in the podcast and all that, I'm not gonna just keep calling you that. So go ahead, your thoughts.
Oh man, I think that some, not all, women need to stop being mean. Stop using your independence and you used to be doing everything on your own as a reason to be defiling and disrespectful to men. And then turn back around and use your independence and the fact that you've been doing it by yourself for so long as an excuse, and they just have to understand. So I think sometimes, don't get me wrong, it does take time. I've been a single mother. My husband passed in 2010. So I've been doing it on my own since 2010. So I'm speaking from a place of experience, my own experience, not anyone else's. And in that experience, I too have been guilty when I first got into the dating cycle of being so used to being independent and doing everything on my own. I didn't even allow the man that I was dating at that time, and this was maybe like 4 years after, so like 2014, I didn't even give him an opportunity to lead. You know, I was being so independent. And then when I did call myself, per se, letting my guard down, I still wanted him to lead the way I was used to leading and doing things the way I was used to things being done. And I wasn't willing at that point to compromise that. So I had to do a lot of self reflecting and I had to grow a lot myself. And, you know, a lot of these women are like, see, you're weak. You don't even know how to lead and things like that, which is very intimidating. So, of course, my point of view is not a very popular one, but it's an honest one. I was that at a time, that mean, independent woman that wanted a man to lead, but didn't, like she said earlier, you don't want to relinquish it. And to go beyond just not wanting to relinquish it, I wasn't willing to. You know, I would let you lead, but here's my rule book. Here, this is how you need to lead, and then we'll go from there, and then I'll accept it. So I think we need to be nicer. We have to stop using it as an excuse to be mean and hateful and rude to our men, and then being surprised when they call us, when they call us exactly what we are, and they don't want to deal with it. And when I say exactly what we are, I'm not referring to the B word or anything like that. Okay, I'm being nice. I'm not gonna cuss on this show today. So I'm not referring them, calling them out of their name, but what man really, or woman for that matter, wants to deal with somebody rude, mean, disrespectful, who makes excuses for behavior that you shouldn't have to deal with? I definitely don't. So it's like most women, then when they get left, they always want to say, oh, he was just intimidated by me. He was just intimidated by my strength. No, he was fed up with your meanness. He was tired of you bragging about making more money than him, and tired of you forcing him to try to do things your way. So that's where I'm at with it.
Love, I know you touched on it briefly, but do you have anything else to add to this?
Yeah, especially as a person who is told that I'm intimidating all the time. It's kind of funny. I agree with something. Now I can't remember if it was Tashira. I think it was Erica who said in the comments that you can automatically let it go. And I think when it comes to men and women, you are going to be vulnerable. You are going to, especially let's say for women, we're going to automatically be soft when we trust you. And if we are independent, then maybe your bar is a little bit higher. We want to see that you're capable of doing what we do and probably a little bit more. So then we go, okay, oh, you got this. Oh, I trust you. I can now be vulnerable, and thus I'm automatically going to be soft because I see that you got it. I think it's a different way that men are vulnerable when we allow ourselves to be soft and we allow that space, that cushion for men, then they can feel like, okay, now I can be vulnerable and I'm not going to be made fun of for being vulnerable. And I think dag nabbit Derek, now I'm about to call her the wrong name too. I'll just say mouth so reckless that, then all of a sudden, if he's vulnerable, then you're mean and nasty to him and you make fun of him. Now you're no longer safe. He's not going to do it. So I think it'll go both ways. But for women specifically, I think we need to trust you. And if we trust you, then all of the rest of it will fall back.
So I want any of the gentlemen want to add to this particular topic about women. A lot of times women being independent and being more modern, having issues with shutting it off.
I would say men need to learn in this new environment that we're in. Stop trying to dominate what you do. Get to know the person that you're dealing with. Do you hear me, Rick?
No, there was a sound, so
okay.
it kind of drowned you out.
So what I was saying is, because we're having these conversations about being in a relationship and how that relationship.
Hey Gigi, put your speaker on mute.
So we're talking about how that relationship should work down the line, right? So, but we're going in with these expectations of she better be submissive to me. She better do this, that, and the other to me. Or he better pay all. He better pay all of the dates that we go on. We go in with that mindset. Let's go in with the mindset of, let me get to know her. Let me get to know him. What is, what's your past dating experiences like? How long have you been by yourself, independently, paying your own bills and doing your thing? Then once you guys get to a point where you want to get into a relationship, you'll start discovering roles and positions for each other to get to the place where Tuck is talking about. There needs to be respect on both ends. There needs to be respect and a safe space. I said this a couple of episodes ago. Men yelling about, I need a safe space. You got to be a safe space when I get home. I need a safe space to lie in my head. If you haven't created a safe space environment, how is she supposed to give it to you? She can't. So you have to create that environment first. You have to make her feel safe so she can then reciprocate that safety to you. Love Tucker just said it so eloquently. She said once she felt comfortable and that she could trust you, that you were taking care of things, and then she'd let it go. The feminine side of her will begin to express itself. So if that is the key, then why are we fighting with all of these things out the gate? We got to have this, we got to have that, we got to have, put the Mercedes truck in the garage, 2-car garage. Soon as I get off the second date, this is what come on, stop all of that. You haven't even met each other yet. You have no idea who you're dealing with. And you want all of these high expectations. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And you're going to keep going on in these circles of these podcasts and these rooms you go into with all these people that are hurt and upset, again, against non-lived experiences. They're just hearing things and they're running with it. So we have to train the younger generation to kind of give it up and start getting to know each other. And one other thought I just had, and women, please take this and run with it. There needs to be circles where women are talking about to younger women, that's not how it works, babe. That's not how it works. That's when the family unit was together, grandma and grandpa. If they didn't live in the house, they were somewhere around the house close, and they could pull each person to the side and go, boy, that's not how you treat your wife, or honey, that's not how you treat him. That's not how you do that. We need that back. We need that type of leadership back. We need the village back, because this place it's a free for all. Everybody do what they want to do, or it's the me generation. Me, worship me, or you can't love me. So I'll land it there.
That's
Anybody
interesting because here in West Africa, it is just like that. Like the family is a part of those decisions. Like if people are considering divorce, they literally have to go to their elders and talk about it and discuss why that shouldn't be a possibility. And, so that's where it gets really interesting about tradition, because in some parts of tradition need to be held on to. I mean, just for the success of what you're configuring, like to put two people together to build a family, it's not one of the easiest tasks. And I think that it is important to hold tradition if that is your intent in some ways. I mean, like, I didn't even know that we did that in America. Like, I didn't know that was a part of the culture where they got together with the elders to stop people from like breaking up and making decisions.
Back in the day when there was the family was together and the village was together and everybody in the neighborhood helped each other out, the grandparents and the uncles, they would pull the guy to the side and say, hey, dude, you're absolutely wrong in what you're doing. Or grandma and the aunts would pull the woman to the side and go, hey, why are you treating him like that? They would have meetings and bring things together. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we hear these people are talking, yelling, I want a traditional man, I want a traditional woman, without the traditional structure.
Right.
You can't, it doesn't work. You can't have it. Because what we have learned in this era of therapy and work, we've learned that you need someone else to help you through. Like my 5-man team right here, we help each other through the week, right? So if you have people that are in your corner helping you, right? You make better decisions. If you're making all the decisions by yourself and you're fighting the one person that's supposed to be your partner, you'll both lose.
I agree. Any Gunter man?
We are not our parents' generation. Now let me explain. Right now, the rate of divorce for ages 40 to 45 to 50 are off the charts. People are not sticking around once their kids get to the age where they can kind of function on their own. So if you're of that mindset of a 40-year-old, 45-year-old, and sometimes 50-year-old, or you're of that mindset, what traditions did you grow up with that you're holding fast to say that, yes, I'm going to make sure this situation works? We are not our parents who lived through whatever, even if it was seen as the mindset of, I have no choice but to be in this situation, you know? It's such a different time, you know. And now if the 40 to 45 and 50-year-olds are doing that, imagine what their kids are now doing. Even weaker. Now, when I say even weaker, I look at my daughter's situation and her having a son and him being 7 years old and she being 33 years old. And you're hearing her stories about relationships and where she has to now not only make money, raise a child by herself because the father of the child's not in the picture for now. But when he was in the picture, he was almost like another child every time he came into the picture. When he came to the house to spend time with her, it wasn't freedom for her to take a break from working all the time. Yes, he works too. But raising that child always is no off switch on that boy, Leo. Leo doesn't have no off switch. So when he came, he wanted that same traditional woman, serve me, plate my food first, have a cooked meal here. Playing video games? What? Playing video games? Plenty. How do you not come home thinking freedom for my wife, freedom for my woman? How do you not think that way? But like Derek Jones says, you just don't think it. You know, that which is common, you know, we say common sense, but that which is common to you is not common to everyone. So it doesn't mean that it's always going to register the same way. But damn, at what point do you feel that, okay, yeah, making money ain't enough, bro. Paying bills ain't enough, bro. At what point do you allow your family, you're supposed to be the peacekeeper. You're supposed to spot. You're supposed to remain sharp. You're supposed to see the ripples in your relationship and know where to attack and how to attack, because you have paid so much close attention to your woman, to your situation as the overseer, that you can tell and know how to present situations so they can work better, so they can be resolved better. You know, so yeah, what woman is going to be willing to relinquish the tightness she feels in her chest by always having to do mostly all things when she meets someone new? Ooh, I feel sorry for the new guys who's going to try to step into this shoes with my daughter, because my daughter's a go-getter. She's a doer. But how do you let her get to the place and space to set that stuff down and not feel the tightness? That means you have to come with the mindset that I'm here to help. And not just with words and not with good deed. No, I'm talking about here to help. Let's journey together. Let's talk about these things, these situations that matter, and then get people involved. You know, one of the failures that we are, the 40 to 45 fail, is that we kept business to ourselves. We were going through our traumas and wasn't telling people around us, hey, help. You got a best man and a maid or matron of honor. They didn't know your business. You wasn't getting them involved. Hey, I need some teamwork. You guys, you stood for me. I need you to get involved. Tell me where I'm off. I need you to something. Where's the village? Where is that coming from? So how do you let go, or how do you demand? Both things, or you already have predetermined information set in your mind regarding situations that love has no place to survive. It could never live because you already predetermined how you're going to be and what you expect from the other. Where does love thrive in situations like this when you feel like you already know? Love is nurturing someone into new possibilities for you and new possibilities for me. I have to be open to what you bring to the table, and you have to be open to see what I bring. And together we grow, together we build, together we see what's available. That's love. Love has been removed, so it's nothing but tightness, trying to hold fast to what you can control. Love ain't controlling things. Love ain't control. Love is you being brave enough to let go, to see what can be done. New possibilities. But you have to trust yourself first. You keep looking to the other person to be something that possibly you're not even ready for.
Woo.
Self-love and operating from a place of genuine truth. Because I believe in a higher power, it's a godly truth, a truth that allows you to kind of move in a way that you're setting up an environment for people to be themselves and for you to learn that in the early stages of your relationship. But nowadays it's, oh, you're my girlfriend, or you my woman already. No, you just my girlfriend. I'm trying to learn you. I'm trying to figure if you right for me. How am I your wife? But because this is what we do. We boyfriend and girlfriend, now we married now. What? Nah. We trying to figure this. I'm supposed to get to know you. If I'm treating like, allow me to be me, and if you don't like the me that you see, let me go. Don't become selfish and say, I like that bitch, I like that part of you, I'm going to hold on to that. No. Let me be me. I'm going to set up an environment for you to be you, and in some time, we're going to figure out if we work. And if we work, then we get into even more details about, are we in alignment? Connection don't mean alignment. Alignment means you have to have discussions.
Hard discussions.
Well, just discussions. It don't even have to be hard. Just discussions. People don't want to talk. People don't even want to live their truth because they look at the other person and say, I need to be this. And you don't even know what that other person needs. How are you guessing at what somebody else is? And you have no, you know what? I don't even know what I always need and what I prefer. How am I going to look at someone else that's not me and say, I need to be this way because that person's going to like that? What? I'm done.
Rick, you sure you done?
What?
You sure you done, homie?
What kind of weekend does your man have? Like, what is
Man,
it?
I got a daughter, bro.
Co-creating.
I don't. My collection plate is in the closet. I gotta get it. But dare I say, John Singletary, you want to follow behind him? You have anything you want to say?
You've been putting me in this spot all night, so I mean, might as well.
How do I know? How do I know?
How long we been doing this show? You don't know yet. You ain't paying attention. Pay attention. That's Mr. Analytic. You talking about how do I know? No, my son in here hating on me. He being a hater, but I'm gonna jump in 2 points real quick that the ladies were talking about earlier, and talking about leadership, and we live in a time where people want to be instant experts. They don't have the credentials. They don't have, everything that it would take. So leadership expert here, Malcolm Gladwell talks about 10,000 hours. I got him.
10,000 hours. Sure.
As a leader of a team, like when I come into a situation, I don't have to tell them I'm the leader because I know I'm the leader and I do what a leader is supposed to do. And one of the things about leadership is that really early on in a journey of a leader is you realize that you're not what we call the SME, the subject matter expert in all things. So when we talk about a leader and the idea of a man having to ask a woman to allow him to be a leader, if you've got to ask permission, you're not a leader, partner. So like you ought to like just put that away because you're not the leader. You're not that guy, accept who you are. But subject matter expert, what is it with men trying to tell women how they should operate in feminine energy?
Woo!
Like how do we get here? How do we get here? What I suggest, this is just an opinion, but I suggest that a man should take time to understand his masculine instead of being worried about what a woman's feminine is. You know, Samika was giving the example, 2014, she was out there giving dudes the business. So let's say I'm trying to date her in 2014 and she make me feel some kind of way. So now because I go sit on my little expert, soapbox or whatever, and I'm up there telling everybody women are this, and that. No, I just dealt with Samika during a specific point in her journey. That's not who she will be forever. And that's not who all women, the statistics don't bear out for people talking about all women are this or all men are that. The statistics just don't bear that out. So we need to get out of this idea that we got a bad or a good experience. So now we've got enough data to say that all women or all men or anything. And then we don't have no business talking about energy that we don't have expertise in. So like, if you're not a subject matter expert, then you shouldn't put on the shoes of a subject matter expert talking about what kind of energy or what feminine energy should look like until you understand what your own masculine energy looks like.
Yeah. Right.
Good point.
And the bomb has been dropped.
Let me go through a couple comments, just a couple. I'm not reading all of them. I know there was one, I think it was Tashura that said, Gunter man, if you have a 33-year-old daughter, she need to see your ID. TK's Chronicle of a Black Sheep says, I never knew what level Gunter Man is going to be on. I never know what level he's going to be on, but he's always on it. Dope discussion with Erica says, bring back conversations. TK's Chronicle of a Black Sheep says, you're a passionate dad. And I'm going to leave that there. The doors of the church are open. So yeah, I mean, it's not really, to me, it's not really difficult. But I guess to some people it is because their mindset is kind of like closed in and it's based on what they see, especially with stuff on the internet now. Again, as another reason why we created this show. It's not really difficult to go into a situation with a woman or with a man and to know that you're in this situation to make assessments about how you're going to move together. It should not be, and to Gunter Man's point and a couple other people's point, it should not be my mission to try to fit you in a box that you don't belong in. Because we all know on both sides of the fence, even though people, will try to lump everybody in a category, we're all different. So how do I really get to function with you as a couple if I haven't taken the time out to get to know you? And I had this, this whole thing, what I call conditional femininity, like what Love Tucker was talking about, and other people were saying about the soft part of you wanting to feel safe before you would want to show that vulnerability. I'm looking at the clock. There's a school of thought out here that says, if I am a masculine man and I'm attracted to a feminine woman, why should I have to wait to see how feminine you're going to be if I need for you to be that upfront when I meet you?
Exactly.
Thoughts?
I don't know you, nigga.
No, you know what though? Honestly, like I agree with that 100%. I don't agree with the whole concept of having to prove yourself and earn the trust and prove that you're not someone or prove that I'm not giving off the behavior that somebody else did. I'm not the one that hurt you. I'm not the one that did those things. I'm not the one that made you feel how you feel. So why do I have to work so hard to gain a trust and a respect that I did not break? And why do you have to work so hard to see who I really am? You know, at the end of the day, I feel like it's a lot of time wasted. If I have this walled up and I'm waiting for you to prove to me that you're someone before I show you who I am, then at the end of the day, we're both going to become different people, in my opinion. I'm going to show you who I am up front. I'm going to be vulnerable up front. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm just going to trust you with my life instantaneously. However, that does mean that I'm not going to make you show me that you're not someone that hurt me in my past. I'm not going to make you show me that you're not this man that abused your power or that mistreated me or anything else. I'm always going to come into a situation open. I'm going to come into a situation honest and not broken. And I'm going to lay all my cards on the table. I expect you to lay all your cards on the table and we'll go from there. I think that people take, not all people, but I think that some women and men take this whole idea of having to prove yourself before you get to see who that person truly is too far. And in turn, nobody is really getting to know anybody.
Just to piggyback off her point, I think it's important that we take time, like when we are in a when a relationship ends, to like heal and work through those things so that you can come into something new, whole. I think it's really important that you don't just jump into relationships like back to back. You know, you allow that space to heal so you can be that your true self, your authentic self.
Right. And then it's like a battle. It's like, I'm waiting for you to show me who you are. Well, no, I'm waiting for you to show me who you are. And it's like a constant battle to where nobody's really getting anything but frustrated. And then you end up going in your different directions.
So I want to follow up with what Derek said about everybody showing up in this masculine and feminine energy, right? So what does that look like for each? How that looks for each different individual is different, right? So in my head, when you go, I need to show up in my masculine energy. What do I need to do when I meet you? We go out to eat, and the waiter says something slick, and I punch him in his face. Like, how do I show my masculine energy at that point? Is it me pulling out the chair? It's like how do I display my like what is the masculine energy at that point that you're meeting somebody? Like what is the criteria? Like what is the criteria of a woman showing her feminine energy? Does she wear a dress? Does she wear heels? If she comes in jeans and what's the ex-president Hillary Clinton, if she comes dressed as Hillary Clinton, does that mean she's in her masculine energy? You know what I mean?
About like literally energy.
Excuse me?
Isn't it about like literally like the energy you exude? I mean, I think that
exactly, because you're being yourself. That's what I'm trying to get to. You're being yourself. So if there's a masculine energy that you think needs to show up and a feminine energy that needs to show up, what does that look like? And I think that's another problem that people are having. We're looking for something to show up day one. She better bring her feminine energy. What is she supposed to do? Like wear a dress with the cleavage down, and she's supposed to glide through the room and walk like a model when she walks through. Like I don't get it. Like is John supposed to show all his muscles and come into the room?
Yes he is. Yes he is.
Please.
I need a tight right
You know,
here.
like yes, and more yes.
No, because you know what you're saying makes absolutely sense, because what I want, right? What I want and what I expect and what looks like masculine energy is not going to be what somebody else wants or what Love wants or what Gigi wants and what they consider masculine energy. So I feel like that in itself should be totally taken off the table. At the end of the day, we're all different. We all have different requirements. We all have different needs and wants and desires. And that's where many of you say conversation. You have to communicate. You have to be your authentic self, and you have to really get to know the person that you're entertaining, just like they have to really get to know your true authentic self or else what is going to happen? We're going to be doing this for a year and decide that there's no chemistry. I
Right.
know I have friends that like certain things and men that I feel like is a little, no, that's not for me. I want to be careful with my words here. I'm not on mouth so reckless. I'll be careful with my words. But there's things that some women like that I'm looking at like, why? Like, I would never even want a man that even did that. Like, and I'll say a general example. Okay. I'll say like some women might be like, oh, he's really sexy. I like a man that has the man bag and the buff nails with the clear nail polish and all that. Where I might want a man that look like he just came off the construction site. You know what I'm saying? And I might want a man that pulls out the chairs and picks up the bills and is protective and make sure I walk on the inside of the sidewalk where she's feeling so independent, she might want to roll out on the other side and so forth. So you really have to get to know the person that you're dealing with. It's really about your own preference, your own individual basis, and that chemistry and that energy that you feel when you with that person. You know, everybody can be in a box. And like a lot of you guys said, that's the main problem. Everybody has this idea of what they think they want. When let's be realistic, if we all really knew exactly what we wanted and everybody really knew how to get what they wanted and really went into everything their authentic self, and why are there so many single people? It just doesn't work that way. We have to be honest with ourselves and really work on ourselves and get there. So now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having expectations. Like, we all have expectations, and there is like a general, conversation that you can have that are must have, that every man or woman must have. But you have to really dig in deeper once you get past that surface conversation where you decide whether you want to continue to get to know that person or not. Then once you guys agree on the basics that you need, necessities, like, okay, I want a man that's working, that wants to lead, that yada, 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 whatever the case may be, then you guys dig in deeper and get to know those personality traits, get to know those ways, get to know what that person is about, get to know the quirks, the likes and dislikes, what irks, what pushes your buttons, and all of those things. And then you got to go from there. But to go into every situation with this idea of a person that probably will never exist, it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like you'll never find what you want or what you're looking for like that. And like I said, I can go in there and say, I've experienced, this man that was this kind of way and he did this and that and this and that. But then again, I might see you and you might be the complete opposite. And I might love that. That may be like, well, damn, I was sleeping. Like, I wasted all this time over here thinking this is what I wanted when all this time, this is what I needed. So you have to keep an open mind, and you really, really, really have to be your authentic self and get to know the authentic person that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And we got to hold women accountable, y'all. I mean, I hate to say it, but we always spend a lot of time and a lot of conversation talking about the way the men used to be and the way the men need to act and this and that and the other, when us women, some of us are all over the place. And we're not doing the things and carrying ourselves and acting in a form that we need to act to attract that man that we want so badly. So I think that just like men and women hold men accountable, we also have to hold women accountable and then go into the relationship open-minded together and getting to know each other fully. Sorry, y'all, I be rambling sometimes.
Yeah, toxic femininity is a real thing too. And we
Absolutely
need to start addressing that and dealing with it.
Okay, guys, our show just got canceled.
No, sorry. I mean, it's real though. Like, it irks my spirit. Like, well, men gotta do this and men gotta do that, and even if a woman is attacking him, the man gotta turn the other cheek. And it's like, no, he needs to leave that toxic relationship. He got to go. Like, he shouldn't be dealing with abuse like women shouldn't be abused. So it's too many double standards, and I'm like an advocate of no breaking down those walls and having no double standards. Equally respected, all of that. I'm with all of that.
So, John, I have a real quick question. Not John, I mean, Derek, I have a real quick question. If you allow me to pose it real quick. What do you do, or what should men do or accept? And this is just a general question for the panel. When a woman says, I need a man to handle me, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is that?
Can handle me?
Yeah, I need a man who can handle me. What is that?
Oh,
it can be a handful.
Yeah, you said it better the second time, T. Watts.
What? And then the second time, for some reason, the first time you said it sounded weird and crazy. Then the second time you said it, it was like, oh, that sounds like Brooklyn speak. Okay, I think I understand. Okay, that means, not me, but that means that she is unwilling to change whatever the heck is going on with her. So whomever is going to deal with whatever level of crazy she's coming with, oh, you need to agree to sign on to this kind of crazy. And you got to agree that I am just fine and don't need to evolve at all. He needs to be able to do that and somehow put me in my place. And that will make me all of a sudden be very feminine, and I am going to be docile, and we're going to be ever so happy together. As long as every once in a while he knows I'm going to come out with a knife and stab him a couple of times, but he'll be fine. He'll just go to the hospital and he'll accept it because he know I'm crazy. And he loves me. And it's like, no, girl, you crazy. You need some help. I'm not saying that's not me at all, but I'm related to a lot of people. So I have heard that, and that's all I got to say on that.
And unfortunately, a lot of men will say that they find it like challenging, but I'm like, dude, that's a whole red flag, man.
The whole red field.
Right.
That's just a whole ball of toxicity. Like, let me be disrespectful so he could be disrespectful back, and then I feel like we're winning. Like, no, that's straight toxic. That whole way of thinking is just toxic.
So one last little question, and then I guess we're gonna start wrapping it up. This is normally our wrap up time. General question to the room: the aspects of all of the stuff that we talked about that lean more traditional. Do you think that, let's say, in the next 20 years, that there'll be some traditional stuff still left, or are we losing it?
Well, you did make an interesting point about the divorce rate for people between 40 and 45 earlier. I read recently that millennials are actually breaking records and staying together and like have high percentages of, successful marriages. So perhaps people, what I find interesting about younger generations is that they have words and better conversations than what I was accustomed to growing up. And they have ways of approaching things and being very open with each other. It's quite different from like the ways we were taught, like maybe you mentioned earlier, like we kind of keep everything to ourselves. The bride and the groomsmen had no clue what's going on in our lives. So I think that with better communication skills, there can be a way to kind of get us back to success rates. And if that's what someone's looking for, because maybe tradition isn't always the best option either. We have to evolve with the time too. And, I grew up, my past 20 years, from my 20s to my 40s, I never really wanted to get married. That wasn't an ambition of mine. So, it really just depends on like the type of woman and man, what they're trying to create.
We're living
I
in
agree
a
with that, and I
time
think
where
that what she touched on is very important. I think a lot of people, I think we will always have traditions, and I think that nowadays, like you said, millennials, with all of the different forms that they're able to communicate and express themselves, even if it's not the original traditions, I do believe that new traditions will be created. And there's still a lot of people out here that are putting new traditions into place, and they're still believing that into their children, bleeding that into their grandchildren. So there will always be some form of tradition, even if it doesn't look like, the one from the 60s or the 70s. And I do notice that people really are getting back into family. So I do believe that the family foundation will be a lot stronger. It just might look a little different. Everything evolves. So
I think you had your mic off, Rick.
just like the simple word of therapy. Back in our times, you wouldn't dare do therapy and at least tell people about it. Nowadays, kids are open to it. They're open to going to get that extra help. So yeah, But the power of tradition is you're doing it mindlessly. You don't even know the reason why you're doing it or preferring it, because it's just been stuff that you've seen or done. And, like almost like, remember the story about the woman, the grandmother who cut off the butt of the ham to put it in her stove. You all know that story, because her stove was only but so big, so she had to cut the butt off. So the thing is this, if the kids today will be more freer with sharing what's on their mind, or standing in their truth, whatever their truth is, and other people have that same liberty or freedom to feel to do the same thing, you're going to have a closer feeling of connection. You're going to go in things more real. But the power of the adversary, he will find a way to make that situation ugly. He will find a way to have it work against you. So then it's people like us, we who are now sharing and being willing to stand up and say, hey, I'm watching a situation. Let me step in and say something. Don't let it just bypass. Oh, it's not my business. No, we're your family. I'm supposed to be in your business some way, some shape or form. I love you. And maybe if I'm not going to present it to you in a way that I'm saying my way is right, but Lord, like I say for my daughter, I'd rather you have my choice to choose from than just your friends' choices and opinions. Your brain only knows but so much, and I've experienced probably a whole lot more. So allow me to share my thoughts with you. Come to me and dig from my wealth of knowledge. So at least when something appears to be something like what I've mentioned to you, you'll have my opinion to pull from. That's all I can do. That's all we can do as parents. Your last high school first, right? Your last first day of high school, right? Is that it is? A senior. Love Tuck is talked about. Shucks. As he gets older, man, set up that environment. You already know. Keep that environment strong, because you want him to crave your opinions. Because when stuff hit him, it's only his boys hanging around him. Mama's voice is going to be important.
So true.
I think tradition is always going to be there. Like I have had conversations with one of my favorite cousins who she's just a few months younger than me, and like my family is huge, right? And she kind of didn't understand why I kind of moved away from a lot of one side for a while, and then she finally got it, and both of us understood that the way that we were brought up, there were certain traditions that didn't work for us. And we learned that as we're teaching our children, I said, well, my opinion is that the way you teach your child something is okay, here's the model I had. I loved everything they did, or all of that was whack, or I'll take these little tiny pieces. I loved this. This was my favorite thing. This brought me joy. It sparked every single wonderful memory I had. I'm going to redo this. And now I can do this better. Or I learned that these things were toxic. These things didn't work. I'm going to implement these things. And there's always a remnant of that tradition somewhere. You learn this, so you're going to teach it. And there's always some part of that. And that's how we get culture, right? Like we all have these shared experiences, these traditions that we develop as society, and it just kind of keeps going as links on a chain. And all of a sudden, we have this tradition. Oh, people who are Jewish, they still celebrate Christmas. Why? It's a tradition that they like. I'm not Buddhist. There are Buddhas all over my home because there is something that I resonate with in that calm. So while I may not be part of that tradition, I may not be part of that religion, there are certain things that I take from it. And I think that 20 years from now, they're going to go, hey, once upon a time they did such and such and such. Let's implement that. Let's employ that. And all of a sudden that continues to live on, just like language. It evolves, it continues, and so will tradition.
Wow,
Anybody else have any?
So let me try to land this plane on tradition. So I look at tradition this way, and I think it's where we're at right now. I think elders have the responsibility of telling the story. The reason why the pot roast story ended up the way it ended up was no one told the tradition of the pot roast. No one passed it down. So when the husband asks, honey, why are you cutting off the ends of the pot roast before you put it in the pan? She really did not know. So they had to go all the way back to grandma that happened to be alive to go, why did you do that? And grandma said, I do it because my pan, none of my pots were big enough to fit the roast. That's why she was doing it. Now imagine if grandma would just say, hey, I'm cutting off the ends because I don't have if I had a bigger pot, I would keep the whole roast, right? So because she never said that, that was never told, or the person following grandma's cooking never asked the question, right? So that tradition was passed down of cutting off the ends without the why. The problem is with tradition is if you don't know the why, it becomes destructive. And that's what's going on with this generation now. But they don't know the why of what these people did in the 70s and in the 80s, in the early 70s and 60s, of why they stayed together, why they dealt with the things they dealt with to make sure that we had what we had. We don't understand the whys. We just want to say, well, if he treats me like this, I'm not sticking around. If she doesn't do this, I'm not sticking. What is the whys? So that's how we need to base tradition on. We need to base tradition on the whys. Stop telling your kids to be quiet and only talk when they need to talk to. Give them the room to express themselves, to talk. So you can have the whys. You can pass down the tradition in your home of what you're doing. I can't stress how important that is. Because if I can explain to a child how marriage is supposed to work, it's a joint union between two people. Then you take out the stigma when they go out in the street that, oh, women are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do that. They'll already understand it's a joint commitment. It's a commitment between two individuals to push the family forward. So that's when I see tradition, that's what I think of.
Anybody else on that topic? Or we gonna get ready to wrap this up? Did you say something, Rick? Oh no, okay. So this was good, guys. Let me look at the comments real quick. I see a couple. And then once we do that, we're gonna wrap it up, and everybody's gonna let us know how to find you if you want to be found. So let's see here. Oh yeah. Oh wait. This Tashura says a woman that wants to be handled is toxic. Dope Discussion says if they like the challenge of breaking her down, let them have their little toxic love affair over there. Erica also says many of us practice traditions that we don't understand the origin of. That was to Tony's point. Tashura also says after my divorce, I understood why my in-laws stayed in the house together, although they were divorced up until the last child was grown. That's a whole topic right there. Dope Discussions with Erica also says, to be honest, many marriages stayed together back then because women didn't have any other options, not because they were happy. Yeah. So, guys, we are at the end of the show. Make sure that you go to realshoptalk.net, subscribe, click the bell, YouTube. We're trying to grow the YouTube page. So I'm gonna go around the room real quick, and everybody can just kind of let us know where to find you, and we're gonna get out of here. So I'll start. Derek Jones, Relationship Gumbo Podcast. this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go to realshoptalk.net, my profile is there along with everybody else's. So you just click the link in the bio. This week, we're talking about the topic is, are you catering to your partner or are you just pacifying them? So we're going to talk about that this week. And that's a solo show. So I'm going in. Y'all know how I go in. We going in. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Rick.
Hey, what's up, guys? Once again, the Gun to Man show is Thursday night, 7:30, Instagram live at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak, Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. And I believe that tomorrow night at 8 p.m., I will be on Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together or Shift On. Help me out with that one, D.
You said it right. You said it
She
right.
invited me, and now I'll be on her show tomorrow with all my energy. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to dump it on my new people. I'm sorry. It's how I'm made. No off switch. But yeah, Thursday night, tomorrow night. I believe I'll be on John's show, your podcast. Well, I guess he'll talk about that. I'll be on podcasts this week. So passing it over, John Singletary. It's on you, bro.
All right, man. I'm not gonna hold y'all long. I want to thank the ladies for coming, man. It's always good to have y'all perspective. You know, I be with these ashy dudes every week, so it's always no, but y'all are going to have to check out the episode of the Help Myself podcast that drops tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern with Gunter Man. The title is "It's Not Over Until I Win," and it's an amazing podcast. Y'all gotta check it out, man. That interview was fire. Like, I got out of that after that interview, I felt like I could go and move mountains. It was on. So realshoptalk.net.
Well, like John said, go to realshoptalk.net. I have 2 shows this week. On Friday, I will be sitting down with Dope Discussions podcast and Tashira Talks with Gator. We'll be talking about relationships and what have you learned through relationships. And then on Saturday, I'll be talking to the crew from Black Man's Journal. We're talking about how that got started, how they got together, and how that works because they're entrepreneurs. They do a lot of amazing things in the community. So we'll talk about that as well. And then every Monday morning, 6 o'clock, we started a new show with my partner, Jen. It's an exciting show. We get it in. We talk about setting goals for the week. We talk about how to get your day started. Today we're talking about how to fuel your day. And the young lady that we had on, she amazing woman. Her name is Stacy. She's an amazing woman. She homeschools her kids. She does stretches. She does breathing exercises in the morning and to get her stuff started. And she talked about how to fuel your body with real food, with energy to help you get through the day. So check that out as well. Now, we're out here doing things, moving mountains like we need to. And I'm pretty sure, you know, my team, every show and every episode that's coming up this week is going to be powerful and moving. If you haven't jumped into Derek's shows yet, just go binge watch. Go binge watch because it's going to change your relationship ideas. If you need energy and somebody to tell you exactly what it is and the little nuances that you're missing, you go talk to Gunner Man. If you're having a situation where from a higher level of somebody that needs to show you how to captain your ship, right? Because he's been doing it for 20 plus years as a leader in the Air Force. Now remember this. Now listen carefully. When you're in the Air Force, that means you have brains, right? So for you to be a leader in the Air Force, so he's going to try to play it off and shake his head no. But to be a leader where he's at in the Air Force, and if I'm not even. Let's go check out his show so you can see what's going on. And our partner that's not here today, but he had to take care of his business, Tony Massey. He has Tony Massey Cooks, and listen, he's going to show you the healthy way. He's going to show you nice ways to cook your food, and he's talking to different chefs every week. So we have it all. Just jump into the realshoptalk.net. All of our links are there. Follow us all, and like he said earlier, please subscribe to this channel because we're trying to get these numbers up. We appreciate you.
All right, mouth so tame. Europe.
You speaking
Yeah.
that into existence, huh? No, I am Mouth So Reckless. Please follow me on Instagram. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I just love this whole village. I love this community. It's very hard to find people with a lot of similar platforms and a lot of similar ideas who are still able to love on and support each other. So I really love this village. And it was hard for me because I was in the comment. I was commenting and in the comments. So when I looked down, I was logged in on my other phone, like interacting with those discussions and to sure and others. I love it there. So I just appreciate you guys. Just trying to get out into the community, trying to build a Black Wall Street. I do a lot of community and area events, trying to build economic wealth and trying to bring these traditions together. So just please support, like, subscribe, and all the things. It's Mouth So Reckless, mouth spelled with that F. And that is all. A new episode premiering 8 p.m. tonight. I'm in California, so that's 8 p.m. Pacific time. So hopefully you guys will get an opportunity to watch that.
Oh, see, I was paying attention. I am Love Tucker. I don't have, like a podcast or anything. I just like to sit and talk about comments. But I did write a book. And it is quite apropos for the times that we are in. There is a reason why the title is 2024. It is available on Amazon. It's all Black, y'all. It actually looks like this. There are a couple of other ones, other 2024s out there. I ain't hating on those, but mine's better. And you can find me on Instagram, love.thee, look. So that would be love.the look. Love Tucker on Facebook. If you have any questions about the book or what I have coming up next.
Nice. Just want to say thank you. I love platforms like this where we're pushing our own narratives and having these conversations that we need to have. You can find me on all social media under GGBme, GIGIBEME. I am starting a new series on my YouTube that's following my experience here in West Africa. It's called Liberate Me. It'll be available on YouTube starting in December. So that's where I'm at, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for visiting us all the way from Africa, Gigi.
Yes, I am in
Absolutely,
Dakar.
absolutely.
That is amazing.
And we collectively thank all you ladies for joining us tonight. And taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us. I know it's a marathon show, but it's an impactful show. So we thank you. And every month we're gonna do this, guys. We're gonna bring back more ladies, some of the same ones, some new ones. We just gonna get it in and have these pertinent conversations because they need to be had. And there's a lot of people out here talking about different things, talking about some of the same things, but they can't catch everybody. So we're gonna take our little piece of the pie and really get this information out and try to build this community. We're trying to build this community. The people that you see on the screen now, the women here, everybody in the comments, the community is growing, man, from the first time we did this to now. So just keep coming back. We have more amazing guests coming. We're gonna have some amazing topics. Matter of fact, Tony Watts, next week's topic. Tony Watt, yeah. You can tell them what we're talking about next week.
All right, so please. Rick, all right, we understand you got clients. We'll talk to you later. Please tune in next week. Next week we're gonna have a very tough, hard conversation. We're gonna talk about the silent abuse of boys. We're gonna talk about the silent abuse of boys. So we want you to invite all the men you know, all the women you know, because this is going to be a hard-hitting conversation, really getting down to the nitty-gritty of the things that we kind of keep quiet a lot. We glass it over, we don't really talk about it, and then we wonder why some of these men act the way they act. So we're gonna get really deep into that. So please invite all of the people necessary that you think should want to hear and glean from this type of information. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Everybody in the comments, thank you for coming. Make sure you come back and bring a friend. You get a +1 next time. Man, +5. Bring a +5. Make sure you come back next week. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell on the YouTube site. We're trying to grow our YouTube numbers. And on that note, guys, We out here. Y'all have an amazing night, and we will see you next week, same time, same place.
Thank you.